My new transport business has gone well, one happy customer, but I'm gonna do it just like my favorite businessman and, well, hand you the keys, but not before you pay the bill.
Oh, man.
Nope.
Checks in the mail?
Welcome to Hoovie's Garage, the dumbest automotive channel in all of YouTube, and this is my 2004 Dodge Ram 2500 Cummins that I bought with 993,000 miles on it. Yes, almost 1 million miles because it spent its entire life before me hot-shotting oil-filled parts to places in urgent need, basically driving non-stop cross-country for years and years, but then they stopped just short of the finish line of 1 million miles and then sold it to someone else, who then consigned it to a dealership and sold it to me, to where I have the privilege to drive this thing over 1 million miles if I don't blow it up. Now, as you know, Cummins is a very industrial engine maker. They supply these engines for Dodge and in semis and other heavy equipment and things. This kind of long-lasting million-mile-plus operation is fairly normal, but it is kind of unusual to see it in a normal civilian Dodge like this, which has issues like rust, which this one's starting to have a little bit of, and of course the suspension death wobble, a common thing among this era, which, well, this truck may have had before, but it's very tight now and leak-free. But the engine itself does have one fatal flaw, that dowel pin of death, a dowel pin inside the engine that, with vibrations from diesels over the years, it works its way loose and then falls into the engine, a steel pin, and wreaks havoc. That's why it's called the dowel pin of death. But I don't think that's going to happen on this engine with 997,000 miles on it. Now, I loaned it to my friend Magic Mike, who works for the Car Wizard, for his long commute. He got it up to 997, almost 998, and he had absolutely no issues at all. Here we are 6 months into ownership on this thing with ridiculous miles, and I've had to fix absolutely nothing other than the initial sorting, which was just some normal leaks, nothing that would stop this truck from going anywhere right now. But I do need to get it over the edge, over that 1 million mile mark, so I asked my friend Euroasian Bob if he needed anything hauled, and he said, well, I do have something in Rogers, Arkansas that you could pick up for me, take the trailer, which I'm going to do. Also, I'm going to go check on the Porsches at Leonard's because he lives nearby, but that'll be for another video. So we're going to hit the road in this thing, get it closer to 1 million miles, and actually pick up something pretty darn cool. Let's hit the road. Gotta wait for the glow plugs to glow. And ignition.
Oh, listen to that diesel. And this is actually an SLT. It's not a no-frills work truck, but it doesn't have very much. There's very little creature comfort. You have AC, a radio that's aftermarket now, cruise control, cloth seats and carpets, so no vinyl, I guess, so not a work truck, but really not much. Such a big difference in comparison to today's pickup trucks that have every single piece of technology from, say, a Mercedes S-Class in it, and that's why they're every bit of $100,000. Also under the hood is every bit as complicated with emission systems and other things to make them more efficient, and all that complication just makes the cars less reliable. The more you have, the more to break, and that's why I don't think you'll ever see a truck like this ever again. Something capable of, well, 997,000 miles that I drove cross country not that long ago, and now I have no worries about taking it across state lines. Oh, there's no wood to knock on, but it should be fine.
Well, I can definitely see why transporting a car is so difficult right now and expensive with diesel prices, but my first gig as a transporter is actually going pretty well. We're picking up something pretty cool, a 1988 Dodge Diplomat. Now, this is the last of the rear-wheel drive Chrysler bodies. I have a Plymouth Fury at home, the cop car from season 1 of Car Issues. This is the Dodge version. There's also the Chrysler New Yorker that I gave away a few years ago, but this is the last of the rear-wheel drive kind of full-size platform from Chrysler. Chevy held on, kept going with the Caprice until 1996, or the Buick Roadmaster, and of course Ford kept going with the Crown Victoria into the 2010s, but this was it. Dodge was the first to sort of give up on this. They had Lee Iacocca wanting to do the K cars and all that business, and they sort of got out of making these big, full-sized cars. This one only has 66,000 miles on it, and it looks like it's really, really honest and original. Oh, just awesome. The vinyl roof with the SE trim crest, oh, that is classy. The owner of the car who sold it to Bob is not home. It looks like he's an enthusiast of big old yachts, so he's supposed to just leave the keys in here under the mat. It is the Midwest after all, and yeah, here it is. Wow, this thing is gorgeous. And the red velour interior, wowza. Back seat looks just as clean. The headliner's not coming down. Well, this is really, really something. It just popped right over cold. My cop car certainly doesn't do that. It takes a lot of effort to start it cold when it's been sitting for a while. Wow. Little 318 V8 in these, rear-wheel drive. I think Bob did good with this one. I'm sure he'll put it for sale at some point. So if you're interested, you can look up Euroasian Bob and give him a price. Well, it's Euroasian Bob. If you looked up Euroasian, you'd probably go in a bad spot on Google. So anyway, I'll load this thing up and we'll continue on our trip. Why don't we take it for a little spin first before we load it up on the trailer? Oh yeah. This is a very, very nice old school land yacht here, but it's not absolutely massive though. Oh, this is so good. Oh, brake's a little touchy though. Got to get used to that after the truck. Let's get the air going. Well, even the stereo is kind of cool, digital. How do we power that on? That works. Let's hit it. No power, even though it's a big V8, but it is very, very smooth and super comfortable. Oh. There's such a big following for these cars now because clean examples of cars like these are just getting harder and harder to find, and they certainly don't make a car like this anymore. Chrysler 300, it's a decent car for a modern car, but it is not comfy. It is not a relaxing, comfortable cruiser like this where you can just, chill. Man, I'm impressed. I'm kind of tempted now. All right, Dodge, time to put you to work. Not that you've ever worked a day in your life, just 990,000 miles of it. I am towing a fairly heavy car, and I mean, it's back there, but you can't really tell because of all the torque of this thing. It still pulls just as hard as it did before with an empty trailer. Super impressed. Of course, that's diesels. And now the formerly rough ride is completely gone because these things were built to haul things comfortably, not just drive around. So actually with the suspension loaded down now, the ride is much better in the rear. I'm not getting bounced around as hard because, well, that's this truck's purpose. When this truck came out, it was in sort of the birth of people buying trucks to use them as daily drivers rather than just normal cars or whatever to get around. So they didn't think to build them to be comfortable for like normal around town cruising. But nowadays that's what everybody does, at least, well, up until very recently. Maybe the $5 gas will stop some of them. But this old rig is certainly old school and hopefully makes it home. Well, kapla! That's Klingon for, I think, good fight or success or something like that. We've made it, 998, 392 miles. And Bob wanted me to deliver it at Shift, a nice storage facility here in downtown. He keeps some of his cars, so hopefully he likes it. It's Euroasian Bob.
Who?
Euroasian Bob. Yeah,
Oh, hey,
hello.
Tyler. What's going on? I
Well,
know that clattering sound
yes,
very
you
well.
have one of these with just a few miles on it, right?
It's got about 200 on it now.
Just a baby.
barely broke in.
Just a baby. This thing is the ultimate transport vehicle. It actually rides better with a trailer kind of weighing it down with the suspension and everything, doesn't it? It just feels better that way?
Yeah. Unloaded there, a little bouncy.
Yeah, but your Diplomat,
Hey, let's take a look
you
here.
did well. You bought this out unseen like I do, right?
Yeah, I bought it. Yeah, a Hoovie moment. I saw it and I wired the guy money, and I'm going, oh my gosh, I'm not Hoovie. What have I done?
Well, I mean,
So tell me, how did I do? You tell me how I did.
well, you did really, really well.
I did?
It's missing this beauty cover on the
Okay,
hubcap here.
simple.
A little bit of wear, but a very honest 60,000 mile car. In the interior, when you open it up,
Oh, baby.
you
You
nailed it.
Here, I gotta do a Hoovie.
Yes.
Oh yeah, feel that pillow.
Yep, the vinyl top's in great shape. I mean, there's a little bit of fading here.
Yeah, and I knew about that. He disclosed
Yeah.
that little clear coat.
But I mean, really honest, I would say. Original.
You
Brand
mean?
new tires?
Yeah.
Man, did you drive it before you loaded it?
I took it around the block. Seems to have no problems. The air was blown cold. It worked. Yeah. Yeah.
Good deal. Good
So,
deal.
my new transport business has gone well. One happy customer, but I'm gonna do it just like my favorite businessman and, well, hand you the keys, but not before you pay the bill.
Oh man.
Nope.
Checks in the mail.
Yep, we'll have to sit down in the office and write something up, and then you get these. Yes.
Well, wait a minute. I transported something for you, so isn't this a push?
I guess we were trading favors, weren't we?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Bob was in Atlanta filming some more VinWiki car stories, and he drove over a car that y'all haven't seen before. We can go check it out. I guess it's funny because we have the Dodge Diplomat, the last of the rear-wheel drive, full-sized Dodge's Chrysler products. This is the last of the old-school diesels. And then over here, oh, this thing's so cool, is a 2003 Dodge Viper, the last analog, say, Chrysler Corp supercar, right?
Yes, definitely supercar. Oh man, I drove this back from Atlanta and just had a freaking fantastic time.
So I bought this thing for Car Trek. It's Car Trek 8. We filmed 7 and 8 in the same 2-week period, so you have to wait a few months before you see what I did with this thing, but it is an incredible car, low mileage, a 2003. I think these are really undervalued, and I like them so much better than, say, the first and second generation Dodge Vipers.
Well, I had that one.
Yeah, me too. They're so primitive and crude, and you give up so much, whereas this one you have all the fun of that first gen Viper, no traction control, over 500 horsepower and a big V10. But you have a top that actually folds down easily, and when it's up, it's sealed really well and nice. The seats are actually comfortable. You have modern conveniences like air conditioning, because the Dodges, the first Vipers, didn't have them. A nice stereo. But it'll still kill you if you do something stupid.
Yeah, there's still no ABS or traction control in this car.
Right. I was so pleased when I saw this thing for the first time too, because it is so clean, and it was a salvage title car, but it was like barely a wreck. I guess it takes nothing to total these, and the car was still drivable from the accident. Nothing was like seriously damaged. And
it looks to me like it's all just been cosmetic.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all bolt-on stuff, but the problem was parts probably weren't available at the time.
Right.
And so the insurance company had no choice other than to total the car, but this is definitely not a totaled
the fender bolts,
car.
I mean, they look good. Nothing looks out of place on this thing, which is why I think I got a fantastic deal. But now the car trick's over, and I guess I can just enjoy it. You'll have to wait to see. Right? Did you enjoy the drive home, Bob?
Yes, I enjoyed the drive home immensely.
So I guess we can trade keys then, because I have the Diplomat and you have the Viper. Yes?
Yeah. Oh!
Wait.
Wait a minute.
Wait.
How much?
Hey, don't slap the cars like that. That's really hard. They complain in the videos all the time about me doing this to people's cars.
Well, you're doing it on the paint with your ring. I'm doing it on the top. There's a difference.
You want it?
I told you when I first saw this car, I really missed my green one, and then when it comes to time for this car to potentially move on to its next owner, I wanted to be that next owner.
Well, I guess we need to do some negotiations off camera. And anyway, the Dodge is doing fantastic. We'll get to 1 million miles very soon, and hopefully it'll be a big event.
Yeah. I have to more cars for you to go pick up.
But I don't know. I think this could be yours for maybe 60 grand.
We got some talking to do.
Well, that was a nice change of pace, doing a video where I don't spend $100,000 buying some hoopty or making the Wizard's mansion payment or funding another piece of fine art for him. Just enjoying a vehicle, taking a nice long road trip, something I used to do all the time in my past life, opening Freddy's restaurants and as a car dealer going to auctions and such, but don't have much time for today unless there's a bunch of cameras around. So it was very nice in that sense, and I am very excited to get the Cummins to 1 million miles, and I'm trying to think of what I should do to celebrate. Now, I'm thinking of visiting Columbus, Indiana, where the Cummins factory is, and seeing the new ones built and celebrating this old Dodge's achievements, or I guess I could just send it to Whistling Diesel and have him blow it up. No, I'm absolutely kidding on that. But thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for supporting the channel by subscribing, hitting that button below, and buying Hoovie's Garage merch. A lot of you have been buying stickers and keychains recently. I very much appreciate it. Love seeing it on Twitter. If you tweet me at Hoovie's Garage, I'll share some of the photos, which I'm doing right now. This is all possible because you all watch these videos, and I really appreciate it. So close to a million miles.